Hello and welcome to another edition of the Midlands Saturday Sports Special. A look back at the week's big sporting headlines and a look ahead to the big sporting events with me, James Brackpool.
And me, Paul Burrell. It's been a real busy week in the world of sport, both locally and nationally. Later on, we'll be hearing from Sam Eggington, who fights for the vacant British welterweight title in Manchester on the 18th of July, as well as his trainer, John Pegg. We'll also get to see some highlights from Brendan McCullum's record-breaking 158 against the Derbyshire Falcons. But first, let's hear from Blues legend Trevor Francis. Trevor happened to bump into the Birmingham City squad out in Marbella and was kind enough to grace bcfc.com and head of media Colin Tatham with this interview.
It's Trevor, here we are in Marbella. Birmingham City players are in the background, Gary Rowett's in the background. Let us into a secret, what are you doing here?
Well, I've got a home here and it was just pure coincidence that my holiday for 2 weeks has coincided with Birmingham City being here. I'd gone down to the port this morning, Port of Banús, and I was coming back to my home, which is very close to here. And I just happened to see a coach, and then I spotted the Birmingham City crest. So I did a quick U-turn, followed it for half a mile. I kind of guessed I knew where it was going because I'm familiar with these surroundings, and it went, as I thought, to the hotel, and all the lads got out and I was able to see Gary Rowett and one or two others that I know very well.
Yeah, I think you caught Kevin Poole by surprise. It was a bit of a double take from Paulie, wasn't it?
Well, initially there was Roy the photographer, then there was Kevin Poole, who you know, did me great service when I was manager there. Kevin was a great pro, and pleased that he's still very much involved with Blues. And then I saw yourself.
Just like old times, wasn't it? Gary Rowett, you signed for Birmingham City for £1 million. What sort of player was he for you, and how have you assessed him as a manager coming in, you know, as he did midway through last season?
Well, I brought him from Derby County and negotiated the deal with my old manager, Jim Smith. So there's connections everywhere, you know, with this. I thought Gary was a very classy, stylish fullback, had great energy. Had a terrific right foot, good on free kicks, could also play as a central defender. He was very versatile. You know, when you look back at the fullbacks that Blues have had over the last 20, 30, even 40 years, I can't think of too many that's better than Gary Rowett.
And obviously the team finished 10th, which was a remarkable turnaround considering he's in trouble in the relegation zone.
Well, I think most Blues fans were anticipating, you know, a poor season, and that's the way it started off. Then the change happened, and the turnaround was nothing short of remarkable. I think they finished 10th, didn't they? Which nobody anticipated. It puts a lot of pressure now on Gary for this new season, because when you look at the, you know, the finances available to him and you know, the quality of the squad, it's going to be really, really tough for him to improve on that 10th position. You know, I'm not being pessimistic, but I think that if he can keep the team clear of relegation without too many worries, I think, you know, most Blues fans, certainly I will consider it to be another good season.
And just finally, Trevor, on July the 18th, we've got a very big event coming up in Birmingham, to mark the 140th anniversary of the club. You must be looking forward to that, and also catching up with a lot of familiar faces.
I am looking forward to it. You know, I said to Ian Dutton that I will probably be here in Marbella, but I shall fly back on the day of the event. I wouldn't want to miss it. He's you know, spoken to me on one or two occasions, and you know, told me just how important it is. And I'm looking forward to seeing, you know, some of my old teammates, hopefully one or two ex-managers that have been with Blues, and of course, you know, I shall know many supporters who will be present, you know, for the event. I'm taking a table myself, which will give me the opportunity of having some of my close pals there. So they're coming from not just Birmingham, you know, friends from London and various parts of the country. So it better be a good night.
And just to finish, this club, there's something peculiar about it. We've had a fair share of ups and downs over the years, but once you get immersed in it, it touches you there, doesn't it? No more than yourself as a schoolboy coming all the way up from Plymouth and the association you've had.
Well, I think back to a recent event, which was the end of November, when I was given the star in Birmingham, and Jasper Carrott, was very much, the leader in, making that happen. And he organised for it to happen at Birmingham City. He couldn't have chosen a better day, for the event to be held at St Andrews in a league game between Birmingham City and Nottingham Forest. That will go down as one of the great days in my footballing career. Half time, to have my family there, close friends, my grandchildren, and to hear not just Blues fans, but also the 4,000 Forest fans who were present, singing my name, and everybody in the ground applauding me.
So great to hear from Trevor Francis there. I mean, funny that he should happen to be out in Marbella and bumping into the Blue squad while
I think Trevor owns half of Marbella.
This week we've heard that Thomas Kuszczak has picked Blues over Wolves because of what they want to achieve. He feels that they're perhaps better placed to achieve promotion. Would that be something that you agree with?
It would, actually. I mean, like we said last week on the programme, this is the first proper season now for Gary. He's getting the players together that he wants. When you think about it, at one stage last year, James, they were only 7 points behind Watford, who were in 6th place. And then everybody was thinking, high expectations. And then everybody eventually was delighted when Blues finished 10th. I just think with a half-decent start, Blues can certainly be in the mix come Easter, definitely.
It's interesting. I know a lot of Wolves fans would disagree with you. Obviously they had a great season last year, highest points total to not make the playoffs. But it'll be very interesting to see. I know Gary Rowett's not actually playing any games out in Marbella. He's promised to just batter his squad physically.
And I think he has, from what I've heard.
Yeah. Which must be lovely.
Which is good. Yeah.
But do you think that'll stand the players in good? Do you not think that they should perhaps get some match practice in while they're out there?
Well, they've got a whole load of friendlies between now and the start of the season. They've got Leicester City at home, which is their one and only home game. But it's all about getting blooding new players in, like the lad from Sheffield Wednesday. He said, "I've come here to get promotion to the Premier League." And let's see what happens. It's going to be an exciting ride, I think, this season.
Do you think Gary Rowett, from the talks he's having with his new signings, it sounds like he's saying to them, look, we're not here just to consolidate this year. We're aiming to go up.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Yeah. Even the disappointment of Kiernan going to Glasgow Rangers, that's been tempered by the fact he's got a lot of belief in Jonathan Spector.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to some Aston Villa headlines now. Aston Villa have signed former Norwich City goalkeeper Mark Bunn on a 2-year contract. Apparently Tony Parks, the goalkeeping coach, recommended Mark Bunn to Tim Sherwood. And Villa keeper Shay Given is expected to complete a move to Stoke City soon. I don't know if that, for me, makes too much sense, Paul. I've been trying to figure this out.
From a football point of view, that's a difficult one because Shay Given has come back. He was patient for a couple of years when the American was really doing well. He played well in the FA Cup final, and you can't say that about many Villa players. He played really well, but I think it comes down to pounds, shillings and pence. I really do. Reported to be 40-50,000 pounds a week. That's a lot of money to have on the payroll.
For Given, who's, what is he, 38, 39?
Yeah, I don't think that really matters too much with goalkeepers.
No, possibly not. Would you have thought Guzan will still be the number one next year?
I think it'll be a straight fight between these two, but if the season started tomorrow, I think, Guzan would probably be between the sticks.
And sticking with Villa, Christian Benteke has been heavily backed by most bookmakers to move to Liverpool. It seems almost odds on now. It's looking like it's going to happen.
Didn't they suspend betting last week?
Yeah, Sky Bet did, after a flurry of bets on it. Should Villa get £32 million for Benteke? Is that good business?
It is good business, but Villa fans will hate that because they really want this guy to stay. And like we said before, I feel he should stay for one more season to prove himself for his country as well as Villa, but who knows? It's all about the money, isn't it?
And, with the 32 million that they may or may not get, would you try and bring in quantity or quality?
It's a great question. And Tim Sherwood, I'm sure, will go knocking on the door of White Hart Lane for whoever he fancies down there. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But I think the big question mark over Delph is the one that's more upsetting for Villa fans, in my opinion.
Well, Mika Richards has come out and said this week that Fabian Delph has spoken to Mika about what it's like at Manchester City. And obviously Mika Richards...
It's okay if you get a game.
Well, that's pretty much surmises what he said, to be honest. And you don't know, do you, if Delph goes up there, is he going to be in the first team? I think it's the lure of Champions League football that's making him consider it.
But even James Milner decided to go elsewhere because he wasn't, in his opinion, but he was having a great time at Man City on the pitch, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Let's move on to West Brom now. And Saido Berahino has sacked his agent, A.D. Ward. It's believed to be in response to the long-running Raheem Sterling transfer saga.
That's got to be music to Tony Pulis's ears. It's like the complete turnaround since Pulis came into the Hawthorns of everything that's happening on the pitch with Saido, and also he's growing up in front of our eyes, which is exactly what Brendan Rodgers wants to see with Sterling, but tearing his hair out.
Well, it's looking like he's going to stay, isn't it, at the Hawthorns for another year, which is great news for the Albion.
And who knows, with the possibility of new owners, James, he could be joined by 2 or 3 other top quality players as well.
Absolutely. Well, West Brom, they are on the verge of a takeover after the granting of exclusive negotiations to an unnamed bidder. This exclusively grants sole rights to deal with owner Jeremy Peace for up to 6 weeks. So it's looking like if it is going to be done with this party, it could be by the end of July, which again is another factor surely to make players like Berahino stay at Albion.
You'd have thought so. And from an Albion Blues fan's point of view, they must be looking at Albion and saying, why can't we just do our business like that over a 6-week period? Let's get on with it. But we all know there are reasons why they can't. But frustrating.
And what's the goal for Tony Pulis and West Brom next year?
Well, Europa League.
You think that high? Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
I really do. Nowhere near where they were struggling this year. You know.
That'll be very interesting to see. We'll move across to their dear neighbours Wolves now. And striker Liam McAlinden has rejoined Shrewsbury Town on a 6-month loan deal. And McAlinden is the Shrews' 8th summer signing. Coventry City have signed former Wolves skipper Sam Ricketts on a 1-year contract after his release. And Tony Mowbray has spoken about the importance of leadership in the dressing room. So a couple of departures from Molineux. They've obviously got the young lad Connor Cody in.
Ricketts was brilliant for Wolves.
I am surprised that he went, to be honest, Paul, I have to say.
Maybe he's been told that he won't be getting much first-team action, but there's an absolute great challenge for him with Tony Mowbray. Now, Tony Mowbray may, on the outside, seem like a dour character, but I think he's a real football man. He was a great player, unsung hero at centre-half for the teams he played for. But I think he's just what the Sky Blues need.
And you said that you fancy Blues to have a better season than Wolves.
I'm not saying they're going to
go
up.
Do you still think Wolves are going to have a promotion push?
I think Blues, Wolves and Albion will have exciting seasons. And that's not saying that Villa won't, but all I'm saying is it's a lot more difficult down there. You were talking about the bookies. And although there's a lot of optimism at Villa Park now, they're still 4th favourites for the drop.
And Dicko's committed to staying at Wolves as well, which is a massive bonus, isn't it?
It's like signing a new player.
Yeah, him and Afobe up front next year. I think the Wolves versus Birmingham games are going to be very interesting, to say the least.
Could well be.
Yeah. We'll move on to Walsall now, and Adam Chambers has spoken to the press this week, and he said that age is just a number to him as he looks to help the Saddlers towards a promotion push in the new season.
It's the C word with them, consistency. I mean, they were losing home games and they were going and beating MK Dons 3-0 away from home. You just didn't know what was going to happen next. But Dean Smith took them to Wembley, and we all know about that. It was fantastic. But they were as close to the relegation zone as they were to the playoffs, and they were yo-yoing along. But it's a great ride with Dean, and if they can get off to a solid start and and at the best keep those results going, you never know, they could be in the mix.
Absolutely, Paul. And finally, just a quick bit of speedway. The Cradley Heathens rode to a 59-33 victory against Stoke on Wednesday evening, whilst the Birmingham Brummies travelled up to Kings Lynn to win 50-40 to cement their lead at the top of the National League by 11 points. You ever got on a speedway bike, Paul?
Not on a bike, but I've certainly been to see the Brummies play a few times.
Yeah.
And well done to Coventry. They're doing brilliantly in the Elite League at the moment. The Midlands is doing well in speedway at the moment.
It's fantastic. So we're going to head to the break now, come back for part 2, where we'll be hearing and seeing a little bit from Brendan McCullum. Welcome back. You're watching the Midlands Saturday Special, and let's start by taking a look at some highlights from that record-breaking 158 that Brendan McCullum scored on his home debut against the Derbyshire Falcons.
Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. We rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. We rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. We rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. Bang your bass. Bang your bass. Shouts to all my lost boys, we rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys. Shouts to all my lost boys, we rowdy. Shouts to all my lost boys. Bang your bass.
So, Paul, great to see Brendan and Varun Chopra there smashing the ball about Edgbaston.
Great to see anybody smashing it around Edgbaston, as long as it's not the Aussies, of course.
I was there that evening, and he was just simply remarkable.
Really?
He's the first Bears player to score 100 in T20. That record's actually their highest score record in T20 has been broken twice this year. Belly got 90 a few weeks ago, but Brendan McCullum comes in. There's 8,000 or 9,000 people there to see him make his home debut.
Great.
And he's just an
What a
international
debut.
draw, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
I mean, dare to dream. Could it be a Brian Lara story or Sean Pollock? What a debut that was. First 4 balls, 4 wickets. May as well get the plane and go home. It's not going to get any better.
You're not, are you? But the Bears are really flying in the T20 at the moment. Top of the league.
And how frustrating for Bally, like you say. Great knock there earlier in the season, and then I think the last 6 innings is 0 and 1 for.
And
yet Bally's been brilliant. But they mock him, don't they? The Australians mock him.
They think that he's someone that they can attack.
Get in the head.
Don't they? But I do think Ian Bell's got too much class. I think he's going to return to form sooner rather than later.
I agree.
And just, on a side note as well, it's great to see that T20 is drawing such large crowds to Edgbaston.
Have we got the finals again this year?
Yes, finals day is
Brilliant.
August the 29th, I believe.
Yeah, superb.
Bringing large crowds, and it's really getting people interested in cricket again.
Yeah, it's making cricket sexy again.
Which
it's true, though, isn't it?
Did you not find cricket sexy
No,
before?
I like it, but your average punter that thinks cricket, is like tennis, so just get the blinkers off and have a look.
Absolutely,
it's a great sport.
And we'll be talking a little bit about the Ashes test that will be coming to Edgbaston, the Ashes so far.
Wednesday the 29th of July.
Yeah, you going, Paul?
Our first day.
Yes.
Always do first day.
Yeah, marvellous.
So there's still a chance of a result.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a while. Also in part 3 of today's programme, we're going to be hearing from Sam Eggington ahead of his big title fight. But first, let's take a look at Pete Jackson, who's a local boxing promoter. And Pete joined us earlier in the week on the Extra Time sofa. Can it ever match being a boxer, being a promoter?
Ooh, tough question, because I was saying to you earlier, James, what I've done now, I'm giving the boxers are the heroes. People pay to come and see them. Sometimes I don't even know who they are. They're putting their life on the line. They're the ones that should be up there in spotlights, regardless of what their record is. And we never had that as pros. I was talking to Jimmy Gould, a good friend of mine. We were at the Light Bar. It was like £15 a ticket, about 15 years ago plus. And you used to have a bit of music. That was it. 5-second walk to the ring. Whereas what I do today, obviously Paul will tell you, we have the boxer comes through a big podium, spotlights, the smoke, and,
music, and
So to answer your question, James, I think I'd love to do that. I never had that, So yeah, I'll never fight again. I'll never compete again. I might have a charity mess about one day, but it's.
Talk us through the process, Pete. I mean, how do you find your boxers, and how do you make sure that you're a good matchmaker? Because they've got to be quality bouts, haven't they, as well?
Again, as I was just saying to James, one thing, Paul, I never get credit for is the matching. Like the show we had the other week was fantastic. It was a great show, and it's nice to earn some money, but I prefer. It's lovely to get Pete. What a fantastic night last night. When's the next one?
Yeah, good.
That's
bouts.
Everything to me. That means you're doing something right.
So how do you find the lads? And they've got to be able to sell tickets as well, haven't they?
Well, again, Paul, it's a process of sitting down months in advance, knowing who you got on, what tickets are going to sell. So I constructed like a ticket deal only. My own fighter will get £10 a ticket he sells. It's £30 a ticket. It's a 4-star hotel, the Copthorne, that they enjoy it there. They got waiter service. So, like my brother Dan used to fight, he'd sell 100 tickets, so he'd make £1,000. It'd pay for him and his wife to go all-inclusive for 2 weeks. Hence, I tried it a different way and it didn't work. I knew they were getting 150. I couldn't sell the tickets, so I ended up making a loss. So again, you have to change it round. But it's not as easy as you think. One of the shows recently, 5 boxers pulled out of 10 scheduled. Now, I will never cancel a show unless I really have to. To me, it shows a bit of weakness, you can't cope or whatever. So what I did was I gave away 11 tables to friends of friends, people who come in the past to fill the room. I paid a couple of lads a couple of £100 for a 6th bout. So the hotel got a bar for the evening. All my 11 tables, 110 people, hence owe me a bit of a favour, enjoy the night. There's ways of dealing with it, It's not always, give up, want to make a loss. And I think I ended up making a couple of £100 off it anyway. We had a good night, so it's,
Paul, you'll know what the atmosphere is like at these events. What's it like comparing?
It's tremendous, and he's a hard person to work for, and that's a compliment because he's very passionate about the sport, and if there's something not quite right, he tells you, and I kind of like that. But no, it's a much different thing to when I'm working with Pat Cowdell. He's got a younger audience, and there's a lot of passion there, and there's nothing wrong with the older audience at all. But they're more like, let's have a nice meal, look at the comedian. Oh, and there's some boxing on as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. But in answer to your question, it's electric.
We only ever had one. We didn't have a crossword, but we only ever had a little bit of clash, and it was about a picture of a monkey in a hammock. Do you remember? My best friend and
I don't go out there anymore.
So, Paul, it was great to speak to Pete, wasn't it?
He was good value.
He had a lovely time, didn't he, on the extra time
yeah.
sofa? And you MC some of his shows.
Yeah, I do.
What are they like?
They're great shows. They're pretty much electric, like I said on the show the other day. He's a showman. He's a good matchmaker. So you've always got a good bout. No one gets thrashed or anything like that. And it's 3 rounds, 2 minutes in duration. So it's great. Proper professional referee. The medics are there. It's all in line. And the guys are in shape. It might be called white-collar boxing, but they do take it seriously. They're in the gym every day. They've got their own trainers, and they bring their own fans as well, which makes it a real spectacle. I'll take you to... There's going to be a couple of good ones between now and Christmas. I'll take you to one. Come as a guest and enjoy it, because I know you like your boxing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd also like to sort of, dispel certain untruths that there may be around white-collar boxing, because it's not illegal, is it? It's just not licensed by the British Board of Boxing.
Absolutely.
And I guess when a lot of people think of white-collar boxing, the first thing they think of is it as safe as pro and amateur boxing?
Yeah, well, the answer is yes, because like I just said, the medics are there, and if anyone hasn't got that fitness, they wouldn't be in that ring. There's no way, touch wood, not a problem.
And Pete himself, he's been through the boxing game for a long time.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
he fought semi-professionally, professionally, and he's a great showman. As I say, he brought Tim Witherspoon and Glenn McCrory into the equation, and he's got a lot of respect in the boxing world. I
imagine he has, because he's had to, start his promotions from essentially nothing. And I'm no expert on boxing promotion, but I'm guessing that takes a lot of hard work. Hard work, and like he said to us the other day, James, putting flyers up all over the place and being so naive to think, well, great, in about 3 hours' time, that'll be full because the phone number's down on there. Everybody's going to walk past it and take the phone number down. Yeah. Real life doesn't work like that, and he knows that now. And they've had to learn a lot, won't he? Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. He's a boxing family. His dad's an expert. His brother's a cracking fighter, and it's all good news. Fantastic. We'll hopefully be hearing more from Pete in the future. But that's it for part 2. Join us in part 3, where we'll be hearing from Sam Eggington and his trainer John Pegg. Welcome back to the Midlands Saturday special, and we're going to be talking some more boxing now. And as we mentioned earlier, Bromley boy Sam Eggington is fighting for the vacant British welterweight title against undefeated Glenn Foote in Manchester on July the 18th. Sorry. We went to Sam's gym in Birmingham, and he told us how preparation had gone for the title fight. Compared to the other camps, this camp's gone swimmingly. Yeah. So I can't moan at all, it's been good. Have you done anything different for this camp? We've done some things, we've added swimming into it, but it's a lot of hard work, constant hard work. Is it enjoyable? Some bits are, some bits ain't. This last few weeks are obviously not very good because I've trained for so long now, and I'm bored of it, and I just want to fight and get it done. For title fights like this, does style matter to you? There's a lot of talk over this fight catching fire. Are you bothered about how you fight, or is it more just end of the result? It doesn't matter. The end of the result matters to me. If I could box it off for 12 rounds and not get it, then I would. Yeah. Obviously, I can't see that happening, but if I can knock him out in the first round, then obviously I'm going to. So as long as I win, how I do it, it doesn't really bother me. I know Eddie Hearn's quite excited about you, Sam. As I said before, you are only 21. Do you enjoy that certain level of expectation, or is that just added pressure that you don't need? To be fair, I've got no pressure on me anyway. I mean, like I say, I'm coming to earn some money. I'm 21, like you just said as well, and I'm fighting for the British title. I'm already Commonwealth champion. I've won a WBC title. I've won the Midlands, so it's no real pressure. The fact that I'm here anyway is a bonus. So. Frankie Gavin obviously vacated the Commonwealth title and the British title for you. How much of an inspiration is Frankie for you? It's big inspiration. Obviously he had a good amateur career. So
he started with a nice jump. So whereas I started on local shows and not selling very much tickets. So there's a big difference. But like you say, he's from Birmingham and he's doing well.
Do you speak to Frankie much?
I speak to him. I've done some sparring with him before. Not regular. I mean, if I see him, I'll have a conversation, but not very regular.
Let's talk about Glenn Foot, your opponent. He's unbeaten. Does that concern you at all?
Not really.
No.
I've fought unbeaten kids before, and it's only gone one way. So the fact that he's unbeaten don't really bother me.
Have you had much chance to study some of his footage?
I don't watch any footage.
No.
I don't watch fights footage. I don't look at I don't even know who he's fought in his last 3 or 4 fights. I don't look at their box rec. I leave it all to John.
Yeah.
What John says normally works out. So
yeah, it has so far.
Exactly.
It's Glenn's first title fight. It's obviously, you know, not yours. Do you think you can use your extra experience, despite being younger, to your advantage?
Probably. I mean, it's never nice going into your first 12-rounder or your first 10-rounder for a big title on TV. So maybe I get to him, maybe it won't. But whether it does or not, it don't really bother me.
And are you taking much support from Birmingham to Manchester? How important is that local backing for you?
The local backing's massive. Like I said, when we was in Birmingham, it was unreal. Like I didn't expect it, honestly. The last time we went to Manchester to fight for sale, we took over 100, just over 100, and this time we're just over 300. So it's massive. The sport's grown quite rapidly. So. And
do you know if Matchroom have got any plans to have more Birmingham events
in
the future?
October, so mid-October. So.
Is that a bill you'd like to be a part of?
100%.
Yeah.
Hopefully the first defence of the British.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Hopefully.
Do you think it's, you know, you fought in Birmingham, fought in the other cities. If you could choose, would you choose Birmingham every time?
100%. 100%. It was unreal, honestly. Like, because obviously you've boxed out, like I've boxed in big arenas before, and obviously most of the crowd, even if they're not there for you or your opponent, they're there for the home fighters. So you'll get a cheer, but nothing like you will in your hometown. And Birmingham was crazy.
And finally, I don't know if you are you looking to fight in the future after Glenn Foot? Are you making
Not
plans?
really.
No.
To be fair, after the year I've had, after this fight, I'd be happy if I didn't fight again this year. But obviously, I'm not going to miss out on a home show in Birmingham. So that'll be my next target, hopefully.
As always, good to hear from Sam there. And before we talk a little more about his prospects, let's hear from his trainer, John Pegg.
Yeah, they've gone tip-top, to be honest. The last camp, we had a bit of a virus mid-camp. The camp before, the Shane Singleton fight, Sam had to have 2 teeth out 6 days before, like 2 bottom teeth. That's why his mouth was bleeding from the second round. So we had all that stuff in camps. And this camp has just gone really well. We planned the sparring out. We've had a bit more strength and conditioning with Max Maxwell. We've involved swimming into the training. It's just gone really well. We done our 12-round spar on Monday, and it went better, the best it's gone yet. So, you know, everything's gone as well as it could do.
What's been the reason behind incorporating the swimming in? Is it just for the sake of variety, or?
No, Max has been telling us about swimming for a long time with his Navy background. But with 6 and 8 round fights, our training's never really felt the need for it. But as we stepped up to 10, we thought we've got to go that extra mile. And we added the swimming in, and Sam, he felt the difference straight away. He says he felt how good it was. And he broke the monotony up a little bit. When you're training hard, and Sam's been training for a year, camp after camp after camp, something different, it keeps him switched on, keeps him focused.
How excited are you about Sam as a prospect? You'll know him better than anyone, being his trainer.
Well, from the start, when he first says, I want to be a journeyman and I want to do this, and he got in and sparred with Cello Renda, who's a tremendous puncher, and Dean Mitchell, who at the time in the gym used to give everyone the horrors, and he held his own. And I thought, well, as soon as he got out of the ring, I went, you're not going to be a journeyman, you're simply too good. And then he started beating kids who had winning records, which people tell you, young prospects don't fight people with winning records. He went away from home for his first fight and beat an unbeaten lad on his home patch. And then he went in prize fights. I didn't win, but excited everybody. Got offered a 10-rounder for the Midlands. Didn't blink, just said, I'm going to knock the guy out. Went to the guy's home patch, Ian was there, and knocked the guy out really spectacularly. And every time he's been asked, he stepped up to the plate and worked. And when we were sitting in a meeting with Barry Hearn a few months ago, myself and Paul Coonahan, Barry Hearn was talking, and that's a man who doesn't just talk what you want to hear. He takes you to your office for a meeting, he's telling you what's going to happen, and everything he said has happened. And he was talking some extraordinary stuff, which if what he hadn't already told us over 6 months had happened, we'd be like, oh, this is unbelievable. But the stuff he told us was unbelievable, about Sam would sell this many tickets, or Sam would beat this guy, Sam would win this title, and it all happened. So now when Barry Hearn tells me something, and when Eddie Hearn tells me something, I'll bow to the experience and just listen, basically. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You mentioned prize fighter there. Glenn Foote won a couple of years ago at the Wolverhampton Civic.
Yeah.
What do you make of him as a fighter?
He's a good fighter. He was a top amateur. He's strong. He can punch. He's got good boxing skills because he boxed for England. So, you know, he's kind of got it all. But what he hasn't got is activity. And I think that will be the difference in his fights. Since prize fighter, Glenn Foote's had 5 fights. None of them are more than 6 or 8 round level against the right kind of opposition. In the same time, Sam's had 14, 12, 10 rounds, unbeaten guys, winning titles, being the underdog against Denton Vassell, come through and stopped him. And I think that is going to be the difference on the night. They're both good fighters, but one lad has been very active, the other lad hasn't been as active.
How do you see Sam's career trajectory going?
It's hard to tell, because every time you think you know where you are, he gets offered a title fight and he wins another belt. So it's really hard to judge. Really, he should be just looking at fighting for an English title now, if he went along the proper career lines. But he's already put a couple of bigger belts underneath his belt and then gone flying past the English, and now he's fighting for the Lonsdale belt, which you have to be 21 to fight for, so he's fighting for it literally as soon as he can. So, you know, and if he wins that, who knows what he's going to do, because every time I think, right, we're going to settle down and learn, he steps up and does something else. So.
And how does Sam compare to the other lads that you've had come through and trained?
Do you know, it's crazy because we've had some really good lads. Sam's had a little bit of luck being spotted on TV, and that's helped. But he's got kind of an inbuilt natural viciousness, basically, that you don't find very often. You know, you don't find that very often. That's sometimes the difference. We've probably had lads a little bit more skillful than him. Like I say, and it isn't a joke, Dee Mitchell, who fights on the road mainly, he's probably the best guy I've ever seen in a gym, but he can't translate it on fight night. Whereas Sam walked out in front of 5,000 people at the NIA and enjoyed it and soaked it up. A lot of these lads walk out just in front of 500 people and freeze up. That's the difference. He goes out there and it doesn't faze him. But I think we're going to have a lot more good lads coming through, because our prospects are looking at Sam and they're thinking, well, we're in the same gym, we're doing the same training, we're from the same kind of background, and it's inspiring them, and it's getting them chances that they might not have got otherwise. We had 3 lads on the undercard of the TV show. Probably wouldn't have got those chances if Sam weren't on there doing the 12-round title fight, to be honest. So he's kind of opened the door, and now it's up to the other younger guys. Actually, they're not younger, but less experienced guys to step through and take their chances as well.
So you're very positive about the Midlands boxing scene and its health?
Well, it's flying. Yeah. We did a programme on our last show at the Aston Villa, which was a good show. We had 8 fights on. And we didn't realise we've got 17 professionals in this gym alone, as well as the guys that we work with, like Naji Al-Harbi, who's in Birmingham. We work with these guys. We work very closely with Carl Williams over in Tamworth, son of Kenny Williams, who used to run Kingshurst. And he's got some good lads coming through. So it's spreading out, but we've got 17 just in this gym, and a very good amateur setup, so that now the lads have got somewhere to go where they don't have to go too far and they can work at home.
And let's go to fight night in Manchester.
Yeah.
Sam's fighting for the British title. But what's it like for you, John? What's that day like for you?
Well, we're learning all the time. Like I've been in 12-round fights before, and you pick things up. But I hadn't been in 12-round fights where we was the home guy and we was the guy who had to be at the press conference every time and stuff like that. So we're learning all the time how to keep someone calm, keep them prepared, although he makes it a little bit easier because, you know, he's cool as a cucumber. Some people are very nervous and you have to learn to cope with that, but it's all learning, and as we learn, like I say, Sam's opening the door that way for the new kids coming through. When they get to them press conferences, it won't be as daunting because they're all going along to his press conferences and soaking up the atmosphere. So the gym's a relatively young gym, and the gym's learning all the time, and the lads are being quite clever. They're soaking up all the experience on the back of Sam's opening the doors, and it's a good idea for them to do that.
Is it a little bit agonising, you know, for you watching Sam fight? Because, you know, at that point, I suppose there's not a lot you can do apart from in between rounds to help him.
No, because you kind of switch off from that. It's your job, isn't it? You know what I mean? You know, and we've got full confidence in what we've done. When you know, if you look, when Sam wins, myself and Paul, we stroll over, we say well done. We don't jump around because it's not a surprise. Because he's trained as hard as we've asked him to. We're confident in the training. We know he can fight, and the same with the other lads. So we don't get too excited because we think he's done his job, and that's all once he's done his job, he's going to win, and that's how it's worked out so far. But it's, you know, it's good. It's good for Birmingham. It's good for the gym.
And have you got many family members, Birmingham support coming up yourself?
My 2 boys are going up with my wife. My brother goes to all.
Marvellous to hear from John and Sam there. And just a few other boxing headlines for you quickly. Anthony Joshua and Dylan White will fight for the British heavyweight title, with a date yet to be decided, but Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn has suggested it will be towards the end of the year in either November or December. Floyd Mayweather has been stripped of the WBO welterweight belt, which he won from Manny Pacquiao in May. The 38-year-old failed to pay the WBO a $200,000 fee to administer the fight by the July the 3rd deadline. And Tyson Fury is set to fight Vladimir Klitschko for the Ukrainians' world heavyweight titles in Dusseldorf on the 24th of October. Fury is unbeaten in 24 fights and successfully defended his European heavyweight title in March. Sam Eggington fighting Glenn Foote in Manchester, July the 18th.
Why Manchester?
I wish I could tell you. I'm not involved in the decision-making process, unfortunately. But he looks good. He looks. The bookies have got them about evens at the moment. Glenn
well, I
Foote's-
got told off a few moments ago for calling him a bit gangly, but he's got a great reach and he's got a great future. And it's a lovely story you were just alluding to off air.
Yes, yeah. Sam only took up boxing. Well, I think started doing it seriously around the age of 16 because he lost his job as a forklift driver. And he initially intended to be a journeyman, just to make some money.
That's going to be a great chapter in a book later on in his life.
Well, I certainly think so, because I think Sam's got what it takes to go to the very top.
Because it's not just about ability, is it?
No,
It's up there.
Sam's very grounded. He's a family man first and foremost. He's got 2 kids, I think. But I was speaking to John, and he was telling me that Sam's really got that viciousness that successful boxers need when he steps into the ring.
Ruthless.
Yeah, he's looking to go out and finish you when he goes into the ring. And obviously when he took up boxing, started being bought off by intending to be a journeyman. But he's too good. And John Peg pulled him to one side and said, look, you know, you're better than this. And look where he is now, welterweight title holder. And hopefully he'll beat Glenn Foote.
And he'll have a good following as well.
Absolutely.
Because Birmingham fans love boxers, don't they? Look at Frankie. Look at McCracken in the past. You know.
Tommy Langford.
Absolutely.
Who's recently won in Dublin. So let's move on to cricket now and the Ashes. England started well. In the first test, Joe Root and Moeen Ali probably
the first
the men of the
session was a
moment.
bit dodgy, but seeing Mitchell Johnson struggle like that was amazing. Wasn't it?
It's not hard.
Naught
viewing,
for
is it?
87, wasn't it?
In the end,
One
I think he
stage.
got 110 for nothing. Fantastic. And to be fair to Johnson, he didn't bowl as badly as those figures suggest.
Not much life in that Welsh pitch.
No. But the fans were giving him
Oh,
real dog's abuse.
and quite rightly so.
But Moeen Ali, I think, has been the star there. To have someone come in at number 8 who can bat and attack
It's been
and
a
hit
while,
77,
hasn't it? Yeah, it's been a while.
dragged us up to 430. Hopefully we can finish the job off.
Caught and bowled the skipper, Clark, and it was just Roy the Rovers stuff for him.
He said
and
that...
Joe Root, of course.
Joe Root's a star, there's no doubt about that. But Moeen Ali said that perhaps the Australian batsmen were overconfident in attacking his bowling.
Possibly, yeah.
So
maybe they're not now.
Hopefully they'll continue to be overconfident.
I couldn't sleep when Warner only got 17. I just couldn't drop off at night. It was
Did you feel awful? Did you, Paul?
God, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. It was terrible.
Let's move on to tennis now, and Jamie Murray is in the doubles
good old
final.
Jamie, and also John Peers, the Australian, and they really have stepped up to the mark. And of course, later on today, they are in the Wimbledon final. The first time they've reached a Wimbledon final, a Grand Slam final, and they've got a tremendous future in the doubles game. They really have.
Judy Murray must be one proud mum.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about teamwork when it comes to doubles, and you've seen the Bryan brothers, what they've done, and they took the art of doubles up to another level. And Jamie, fair play to him, and like I say, the Australian guy, they really look the part. They do. Good luck to them.
Oh, absolutely. We're hoping that Andy can make it as well. Ladies football, Paul, we haven't had a chance to speak about that yet.
No, it's all turned around, hasn't it? The disaster of the last-minute own goal seems to have been forgotten now. There was a lovely situation where they got the bronze, beating Germany 1-0. Monday morning, Heathrow Airport, heroes welcome. A couple of days ago, they're at Wimbledon taking a bow, and Prince William said you showed the men how it should be done. It's all great stuff.
They've been to number 10 as well.
Yeah.
They deserve it all, don't they?
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that's the first time the English ladies have beaten the German ladies as well?
I think we beat them about 9 months ago in a friendly, and I think that was the first time. But you may be right. You may be right. But certainly we're getting closer to the Holy Grail, which is the USA.
Yeah. Yeah, and watching the game, they deserved the win as well. It wasn't, like they stole it. They outplayed the Germans, which was lovely to see for once, wasn't it?
Right, and the girl Bassett, she puts all that nonsense to bed.
And finally, let's talk a little bit about Mo Farah, who's been in the headlines this week.
Yeah, a couple of nights ago, fantastic win in
return to action, Lausanne. Yeah. But this whole business was Andy Vernon. Apparently, he's swearing at him.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, really. I mean, Andy Vernon offered his hand and congratulations, and he was given very short shrift by Mo Farah. But I'm sure that will all come out in a wash. But he's had a tough few weeks, Mo.
Do we think it's the pressure of the whole Salazar situation, and obviously this is the first time he's been back since those accusations have come out? Do we think it's perhaps
it's
got to him?
A major relief for Mo to win that, but he won it in style as well. So let's let him do his talking on the track. That's what I say.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this week for the Midlands Saturday Sports Special. Thank you for watching, and Paul, thank you as ever for joining me on the sofa. Join us again, same time, same place for the Midlands Saturday Special. Take care.